Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsessions
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hello and welcome to the Dork Forest. I know it. This is exciting for me. I am at the LA Podcast Festival, which is something that never existed before, a podcast festival. It is a festival of many podcasts here at the Sheraton in Santa Monica in Los Angeles, and the Dork Forest is live. Good things are happening. We all know, of course, the websites, JackieCation.com, DorkForest.com. Robert, doing the audio today. Let's have a round of applause for Robert. Patrick Brady, of course, will be fixing this audio if I can get room tone afterwards, and that'll be lovely for him. He'll enjoy that. Mike Rickberg just sang the song you heard. The Mexican Hat Dance will be played at the end, just in our minds, because I forgot to bring a CD. Anyway, so, but it'll be and then, so there's iTunes, there's merch. Here at the Podcast Festival, you can get a Dork Forest t-shirt, a couple of different kinds of Dork Forest t-shirts over at the merch table. And then everyone who came to the live podcast today gets a free Ranger of the Dork Forest magnet and patch. So if you are willing to sew, feel free to knock yourselves out. And then my guests, very exciting. Let's introduce Murray first, because Murray, you're a Dork Forest favorite.
I am. Thank you very much for having me.
VaLARiano?
Yes, Murray VaLARiano. Thank you.
Yes, for the first time in 12 years, I am pronouncing his last name correctly into a microphone.
Mark it in your calendars.
Don't forget to write. And so Murray has been on before talking about U2 and how much he enjoys the band U2.
Yes,
he
sir.
has been ignored where he has not gotten to talk about U2, and he's talked about U2, and then other times he didn't get to talk about U2 because I talked about other things. But Murray, we're going to talk about the Beatles today, I think, at some point, right?
Yes,
and then
I think
sitting
so.
to my left, your friend and a man that I have just met, Paul Adelstein. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Paul Adelstein is what we call here in the industry a working actor. This guy works. It's exciting. He was on Prison Break, which is very exciting for me, because Prison Break, CIA Special Forces. Look at him. He's obviously
Killer.
Total very
killer.
fit,
Yeah.
very fit, and now on Private Practice. Is that correct?
Also a killer.
Also a killer. I believe a lawyer.
Killing children on Private Practice as much as I can.
That's the truth, man. Every time I turn into that show, it's some sick kid, and I can't watch it, man.
Dead babies. Don't bring your children to that practice.
Wow, that is the worst practice ever.
The thing I learned researching pediatricians is that they actually have a character trait in common, which is that they do it because they love it. There's not a lot of money in it because kids, thankfully, don't really get very sick a lot.
Really?
So there's not a ton of money in it. There's not a ton of tests. There's not a ton of surgeries. There's not a ton of specialties.
Okay.
Unless they're on television.
Oh, right. And then,
No
of course,
kid comes in with a strep throat. They come in with Pelizaeus MerzbacherSpecial.
Oh,
and then they
you
die.
had to learn how to say.
Right.
What is Pelizaeus MerzbacherSpecial?
I don't remember, but I know how to say it.
Oh, there you go. Well
I thought
done.
you wrote one of my favorite children's books, Pelizaeus MerzbacherSpecial.
Oh, that's nice. It's a
Did I
very
even come
Dr.
close to
Seuss.
pronouncing that right?
It's a. I think you mangled it hardcore.
Pelizaeus
That's right. So
MerzbacherSpecial.
that's right. You're a pediatrician.
Yeah.
Wow. So do you have children? If I might.
I do. I have one child.
One
a
child?
2.5-year-old daughter.
Human. Okay. Good.
I think.
Excellent.
I haven't looked.
All right, excellent. So a little girl, 2.5 years old, adorable. This one, he's got a kid right over here, Murray. He's got a kid named Frank.
Frankie Valeriano.
Hey,
Frank.
Frankie Two V's is what Graham Elwood calls him.
Frankie Two V's?
Frankie Two V's, because his middle name is Vasilios.
Oh, crying out
Because
loud.
I want my kid to join the mafia by the time he's 13.
Take it on the road, Frankie. It's, man. Six-finger Frankie. Anyway, that's crazy talk. Holy smokes. So you guys, so what I did was I always do, there's always pre-production. I always say, what do you guys want to talk about? What is it? What's your dorkdom? And you said that for a while when you were doing the Prison Break, you got into the Special Forces.
I did.
You were interested. What did you learn? What did you care about? What happened?
We figured out the character I played, who was a Secret Service agent, was a combo. He had been Special Forces and then he had joined Secret Service, and it's a very different psychology. The thing that I learned a lot about Special Forces, and I didn't know anything about it. I'm very left leaning, and it gave me such an incredible respect for these guys.
Oh, right, because you didn't know anything. Did you know anything about the military?
I knew a
prior?
little bit about the military, but what I think we've gotten used to the idea of Special Forces more. But until really after World War II, that idea of a very small group that could be inserted somewhere and left to their own devices it was not a concept that flew in the military.
Oh, right, because they all marched at people before.
They marched, yeah, and it was
and then they put their bayonets, and then they just went towards each other, and then now there's 6 guys who are recon Marines or whatever.
And so the military did not like this, so they got rid of it.
Oh.
And then Kennedy brought it back. So he's kind of the hero of the Special Forces, also known as the Green Berets.
Okay.
And which was obviously effective in the kind of wars we fight now in Vietnam, etc. They would put these 12 guys in an A team.
Right.
Wait
a minute.
Yes, right.
Is it the A team? Mm-hmm. All right. We've already learned
There's
something.
one guy with a mohawk.
Okay.
There's one guy with a cigar.
There's one handsome.
Bradley Cooper's there for some reason. I don't know why he's there.
Excellent. What? Okay, so just 12 guys but they could be loose cannons, right? I mean, that's where.
Interesting. They really are the best and the brightest. They're incredible physical specimens. And they all speak other languages. They're supposed to be super educated in the cultures they're infiltrating. They're there really to train the indigenous populations. So they have. Okay. There's 12 guys. There's how do I want to screw this up? There's 2 commanders, 2 engineers, 2 weapons, 2 operations, and 2 medics.
Okay.
And they conceivably can go out for months and months and months on end without any kind of.
Do they ever fall in love?
A lot of these guys with one another.
With one another,
I would imagine.
Okay, and then.
But what happens a lot of times is they go into these indigenous populations and they never come back.
Oh, they go native.
They go native. A lot of them
really?
Yeah.
Oh, they go apocalypse now.
It happened in Vietnam a lot.
Wow.
All right. Yeah.
And now the military is relying on special forces more than ever with the kind of wars that we fight now. They don't want to put 100,000 people on the ground.
Now, when you say special forces,
would be intimidating, though.
When you say special forces in a group of 12 guys, are there different groups?
Yes.
So
there's many A teams,
which
are I guess the guys in the field, and then the B teams are support teams. They're like back at the base, and then there's a seat. Then it goes battalion and all
until
that.
Until they get called up to the big leagues.
Right, I guess so. But the operational guys in the field are what's called the A team.
So did you get to interview with those guys?
I met one special forces guy. They don't really talk.
Really? So they probably wouldn't want a ranger of the Dork Forest. That's what I was told when I went overseas, is that the actual Army Ranger guys wanted no part of my Ranger of the Dork Forest.
I would
T-shirts.
I wouldn't imagine.
They were like, not funny.
So the special forces guys, in a way, were considered loose cannons. People were scared of it, and then now. After Cold War, it basically special forces becomes CIA, goes back to special forces, then nobody really knows.
Oh, right, yeah, because nobody's talking about it.
The CIA runs a lot of the special forces ops.
Right.
Are they different for each branch of the military?
Like
with the
Navy SEALs?
I believe the SEALs are the Marine Special Forces. I may be wrong about that, but because SEAL Team 6 is Special Forces organized.
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
Because the Marines are the land version of Navy.
Part of the Navy.
Yeah. Which, by the way, if you ever get a Marine, tell them.
Classic Dork Forest moment where we're like, we just sort of know this. This is kind of like, there's probably.
Oh, that's good, because I was nervous, because I know.
It's just enthusiasm.
I know a little about a lot of things. So, okay, good. Enthusiasm I have plenty of.
Plenty of enthusiasm. Let's do it. What's last time I went overseas, the first time I went overseas, the big ad campaign was stop killing yourselves in the armed forces.
Oh, right.
And then the last time I went, the big ad campaign was stop raping each other. Mm-hmm. And
probably connected in a certain way.
Well, now they're back to stop killing yourselves.
Right.
The numbers are up again. It's like it's a war. So feel free to enlist, people, because it's a good time. It's obviously there's a lot of depression, or
work for Operation Wounded Warrior, because that actually is an incredible organization.
What is that? Operation Wounded?
It's helping guys when they've come back with psychological issues, etc.
Oh yeah. Those I went to the Walter Reed thing too, where those guys and whoever hosted it was Aparna Nancherla, who is a stand-up comic, very very funny woman. She was hosting and she kept saying, "Give a hand for the next comic," and there was a guy in the front row, didn't have an arm. And every single time she said it, he would go, "Still can't do it." And And like the third, she kept dropping the ball. And like the third time she said it, she was like, Jesus Christ, what is my problem? And he was like, nah, it's funny. And but I mean, he was dealing with it as well. So, but in more cheerful things, Murray, who loves the Beatles, is because you guys were like, we could talk about music because you're in a band too, aren't
I'm
you,
in a
Paul?
band, yes.
Is it called Doris?
It is called Doris.
Somebody emailed me and said you were in a band called Doris.
True.
Is it the Stray Cats? What is it? Is it?
It's
I'm 107.
Not like the Stray Cats. Do you know? I came up with this the other day. Do you know that song "Vienna" by Billy Joel?
Yes.
It sounds like that. The whole band kind of sounds like that. Somebody sent me that song. Somebody sent me that song and said, "Would you play this at my wedding?" And And I said, "This sounds more like Doris than Doris does." And I knew that record inside and out. I did not know that song. What a beautiful song.
It's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Because you should always, there'll always be Vienna, it turns out.
Is Doris a band, or is Doris like Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails?
It started as a band in Chicago, but when I moved here, those guys didn't move, so I kept playing under that name. And now it's kind of the same group of guys with some variations, but it's pro guys that live here that play with me. So.
Are you from Chicago?
I am.
All right. Chicagoland or the city?
Grew up in a suburb, moved into the city when I was 13.
All right.
So I can kind of get away with saying, oh, I'm from Chicago.
What suburb?
Glencoe.
Don't know it.
I think I have.
John Hughes land.
Oh, okay.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. I'm from Milwaukee.
Okay.
So we're just a suburb of Chicago
It's
to
like
some
the
extent.
coolest neighborhood in Chicago is Milwaukee.
It is really nice.
It's like when Chicago was like 20 years ago. Like, all these old buildings and all that stuff.
Right, nothing's been ripped down. It's nice.
Do you know the At Random in Milwaukee? Do you know
I don't.
That crazy,
what is
weird,
that? Is it a bar?
It's a bar from the 60s.
It ought to be.
That serves alcohol ice cream drinks.
Oh, the mint julep or the grasshopper?
I don't know.
Is what I'm thinking of.
I don't know.
I'm thinking one of my grandmothers was an alcoholic, and I've always been blamed for getting her to drink again because one Thanksgiving I filled up her wine glass. I was like, "Hey, I think I was 13, and I think she was 70, so I guess I'm not going to take that."
Yeah, that's on you,
my
that
fault.
one, huh?
Yeah, I'm not going to. That's not going to be me. But when I turned 16, she bought me a grasshopper because it's a classic Milwaukee kind of thing where you're just like, it's going to be a fancy day. There's going to be ice cream and booze. That's a fancy day in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I had no
times.
idea the grasshopper had ice cream in it.
Oh yeah,
I've never had a grasshopper.
Oh, I wonder if they serve a non-alcoholic version downstairs with a shrimp ring. It'll be nice. We'll get shrimp cocktail and a grasshopper downstairs. I'm willing to party. Anyway, so Vienna. So Doris, how many people are in the band usually?
5.
Oh.
Guitar. I play piano and guitar. Then there's a guitarist, a bassist, keyboardist, and a drummer.
All right. And where do you guys play out? Do you ever play out in Agoura Hills at that Canyon Club?
We haven't played at the Canyon Club.
All right. That's a place.
I
That's
was
a place
at the
that a lot
Canyon
of.
Club 2 weeks ago.
I'd like
Were
to
you?
get there.
Performing.
I'd like to play. They were playing in Las Vegas next month.
Ooh, where in
really
Las
weird.
Vegas?
It's Cosmopolitan Hotel for kind of industry thing, but it's open to the public. That should be weird and fun.
Is it a Vegas version of South by Southwest or something?
Yeah, it's like for industry. Yes, kind of, but it's not as.
Tiny, and there's 3 bands.
It's a little more. I think it's going to be big. It's just
good.
going to be not. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a little bit of a freak show, but it's Vegas, so it should be right.
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, we're playing on Friday the 9th. It's going to be really fun. I'm excited.
Okay, so people should go to see that if
Yes.
they're in Vegas and they're allowed, but they're not because it's
They
an
are allowed.
industry.
No, it's open to the public.
Oh, it's a public event.
Yeah.
Okay,
Public
so
event.
look at it. Does Doris have a website?
DorisMusic.net.
Oddly enough, DorisMusic.net. And do you have albums and stuff?
We have 2 albums.
Right.
One that just came out last year called All the Details.
Catchy. That's a nice name.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Okay, so Murray.
Yes, I'm trying to get on to find Doris.com, but they won't let me on the hotel website.
There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, look, you got a code written on your
Yeah,
hand.
6 capital Y.
Don't give it to
6 2.
everybody.
Everybody now, live it up. For the rest of the LA Podfest, here's the free Wi-Fi. 6Y62.
Is it true that Santa Monica has Wi-Fi?
Oh, like citywide Wi-Fi?
Yes, is that true?
Apparently not. Because I'm trying to
Not
get
true.
on
That's
right
not
now.
true. I was
tell you-
working down here the other day.
Oh, by the way, that's an
Said so.
invalid passcode.
Is it? Well, then that's because you didn't go under the guest one. I don't know.
You know what? I didn't.
This is good. We're
This
going to
is
keep
scintillating
this. We're going
stuff.
to keep this in. There's a reason why I'm not packed like Todd Glass.
Can we go on my bill pay thing and pay some my gas bill and stuff while we're doing this?
Sure, we can use Murray's cards. Anyway, so but you guys, so you were telling me you could talk for 4 hours about Annie Hall. Begin.
I think I could.
First shot. Tell me what it is.
Mr. McLuhan right here.
What was the first shot of Annie Hall? I barely remember, except for that they went and saw some Nazi movie forever.
That's Sour and the Pity.
That's it, Sour and the Pity, like a 6-hour movie about
Nazis.
against Nazis. I'm hoping, right?
Right.
Okay.
What is the first shot of Annie Hall?
I believe it's
already.
It's an opening. It's an interview segment.
He's talking to the camera, right?
Yeah, talking to camera, right? Yeah.
All right.
He's talking to the camera, and it's not my brother. He needs the eggs. It's such small. It's the food's so bad in such small portions. About love. He's making an analogy with love.
My favorite line from that is when he's talking about relationships and breaking up with women, and he says, "You probably do it
like
better
a
with-
shock.
Yeah.
The relationship needs to keep moving forward, otherwise it dies."
Is that the line?
That's what he says, and then he says, "I think what we have here is a dead shock." And then they break up.
And then that's what I like about Woody Allen is that a number of women that he's been with doesn't make any sense to me. Because the late 60s, I've watched I saw a stand-up set of his from 1965, and it is amazing. It is an amazing stand-up set. But then I saw him on Dick Cavett in 1970, 71, and you're like, oh, you were a creepy 30-year-old.
Totally creepy.
Right. It doesn't, just because you're 80, it doesn't mean that you always wanted to hang out with a 15-year-old.
Talking about his neurosis, but he's got like the weird long red hair, and you're like, oh, I see where this is going.
This is never going to end. This is always going to end in tears.
But in all the Diane Keaton interviews, she just says, oh, you don't get it. I pursued him. He wanted nothing to do with me.
You are correct. I do not get it, Diane Keaton.
There's a great documentary. PBS did that great documentary last year on him. If you get a chance to check that out.
And
it's like
they
one of the first he
interviewed
was
him, right?
participating.
Yes.
He really participated.
Seeming willingly, too.
Yeah, and talked about everything, including
and his stepdaughter.
Including
Yes.
Sun Yi,
Yeah.
the
Which is
stepdaughter
good.
that he married.
Right. Now what makes it one of your favorite movies though? What makes Annie Hall one of the great movies?
Well,
just because of the lines?
No, I mean, yes, probably, but it was so informative when I was a kid. I mean, we used to watch it. We used to
like
rent
Star
it
Wars for
every
me.
weekend, kind of like Star Wars for you.
Okay.
And it was kind of, I felt like in high school being a bit awkward and neurotic, it was kind of like there were the Top Gun guys and there were the Annie Hall guys. Because you're like, well, if he's charming and he's
getting some action.
He's getting some action. And the neuroses, the way that movie works, I mean, it works like their idea, him and Marshall Brickman talked about it trying to function like a novel, not like a typical film. It doesn't move. The narrative is not linear, and it has all those turning to the audience, but it also has flashbacks and flash forwards and fantasy stuff, and it just kind of, it's
sort of a rich man's Ferris Bueller.
It is like a rich man's a Jewish man's Ferris Bueller.
All right. Isn't Ferris Bueller a Jewish man's Ferris Bueller? Is Matthew Broderick not?
Ferris Bueller? That doesn't sound.
No. That doesn't sound Jewish to you?
Is it true that Alan Ruck was 35 when he made that movie? The guy who played Cameron.
I think so. I think he had to dye his hair for the high school scenes.
It was great, but it was kind of an expression of that neuroses and making it funny and charming, and that went miles for me. Annie Hall, that is.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting little trivia thing about that.
Yes.
At the end scene when he runs into Annie outside the Sorrow and the Pity. Not the Filth and the Fury, which I keep calling it, which is
right, which didn't come out.
Wow, that is an entirely different film.
Yeah, it's a very different movie about the Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols movie.
It's all shot, and he's doing the narration, and he runs into the girl he's with. His new date is Sigourney Weaver.
Correct.
Oh, fun fact. I did not know
Fun
that.
fact.
Yes.
All right, and then later she fights aliens. All right.
Yes.
It always comes back to
In her
science
underwear.
fiction
In her
movie.
panties.
In her
underwear.
Yes. There's some
Aliens
she loses
to the
clothes.
underwear.
Wait, is it at the end or is it outside the movie theater?
It's outside the movie theater, but
Flashback of the movie theater to the 50s, though. Oh no, that's right. You're right.
yeah, it's at the end.
So talk to me about these Sex Pistols. This is a band,
It was a
right?
band.
Okay. And
Kind of a band.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, really?
A lot of people really attribute them to being like the start of punk rock, and it's completely bullshit. It's not. What?
Really?
Yeah.
Throw down. How so? How so? Where does it begin?
They're like the Spice Girls. They were put together
Yeah.
by a producer.
Really?
They were
McLaren.
given a whole gestalt,
Gestalt,
Gestalt.
I believe.
They were given
I'm
one of
gonna go-
those, told behave this way. do
Yeah, yeah.
this,
Oh, right.
What had happened was punk really started in New York and the Lower East Side in the early 70s, maybe late 60s, depends on if you consider the Velvet Underground influential in that. And Ian McLaren, the
People
producer,
do.
came over and saw all these poor bands playing at like Max's Kansas City and CBGB's who were so poor they were pinning their safety pinning their shirts together to hold them on. He's like, oh, that's a great fashion statement. So he went to New York, opened up his store with his girl, I forget her, and then started selling safety pins, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's very the sequel to The Outsiders. Do you guys read That Was Then, This Is Now? When all the socials started wearing jeans.
Wait, that was
And
the
you're
sequel?
Like, that was the sequel. That Was Then, This Is Now. The sequel to
I
The
didn't read
Outsiders.
it, but I saw the movie starring two stars that never went on to do anything else.
Yeah, both of those movies were pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But Rumblefish, of course, was the worst.
Stay golden.
Pony Boy. Did you see Rumblefish with Mickey Rourke?
Oh, yeah, of course. And Diane Lane.
Did you? Oh, it was Diane Lane, wasn't it?
And Chris Penn and Nicolas Cage.
Right. Black and white, except for the fish.
Except for the fish.
Do you know why? Because he's just like the fish. It's one of those movies where someone's sitting next to me, hitting me, going, "Get it? Do you get it? Do you see what's
Movies
happening?"
where I was like, ride to the ocean, and then he gets to the ocean. I'm like, now what?
Now
he's getting,
what?
now he's getting like a job waiting tables in Santa Monica. Like, this blows. Fuck.
Exactly. It's
Can I swear on the internet?
You can cuss.
yeah, you can swear on the internet. The internet's full of swears. So,
Murray, didn't the Sex Pistols thing really get going once the Ramones went and toured England, and then they all came and saw the Ramones and were like, oh, I want to do that.
Yeah, the Ramones and New York Dolls. New York Dolls were a huge influence on that whole scene. And there's, I probably shouldn't say this because I don't really know the exact, but there was I think it's called the 101 Club. Somebody was nodding along with me out there. Maybe you can back me up. The Sex Pistols played there when they first started. And in that audience was the Buzzcocks, Morrissey,
Depeche Mode guys.
I don't know if the Depeche Mode guys
No, not
are.
Depeche Mode, the other one.
Everybody at that show
These guys.
started a band.
Okay.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy.
New
Devo?
Order. No,
New Order.
before he killed himself. Joy Division.
Joy Division.
Those guys were
Ian
there.
Curtis. And everybody in that audience started a band and pretty much started the whole Manchester scene.
Yes.
Now, everything I know about punk rock music comes from the movie Repo Man. Did you guys? I owned that album. I went and saw that movie. I felt like I was in the cutting edge or something.
Yes.
And that was in 1983, I think.
Alex,
So.
what's his name? And he also directed Sid and Nancy, right?
Oh, he did? I never saw Repo Man.
Oh, you never saw it? You know what? Nobody lives by code anymore, except for Repo Man.
That's right.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Although I believe I was.
Black Flag? That's a punk
Black
band,
Flag,
right?
yeah.
They're shouting,
We're
right?
a hardcore band, yeah.
That's what I think of when I think of punk music. I think of a lot of shouting,
As
some
do I.
rage.
As
Henry
do I.
Rollins is an old band who I consider Henry Rollins hipsters Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, nice. I kind of like that. That's well done. Yes.
That guy is in every fucking documentary ever made about anything.
You know why? Because he needs $526, which is after scale. And who doesn't need $526?
Henry does.
It's but I did a show once with Henry Rollins on VH1 The List back in the 12th
I remember
century.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I should be on, something about music. It was a music VH1 panel show, and it was Henry Rollins was hosting it, and then the other guests were like some guy from The Doors
Ray Manzarek.
Ray Manzarek, and
People
then two kimonos, Karate Guy, Under Siege.
Steven
Seagal. There we go. So, and
Two kimonos.
he was wearing two kimonos, a red one and then a blue one.
He probably needed them.
And him and Henry Rollins got into it backstage.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Henry Rollins said to him, "You owe me $20." And Steven Seagal in this quiet Buddha voice, because he had just found out, he had just paid someone to have someone tell him that he was a reincarnated Buddhist or something. And, but he was like, "Do I?" And, it was very much that, and Rollins was in his face. And then the other guy was the guy who played, Saving Private Ryan. He played, he played
Burns.
the Jewish kid.
Adam Goldberg.
He also played the goldfish on Friends. He played,
Adam
Oh,
Goldberg.
yeah.
it was
The
Adam
roommate.
the roommate.
Yeah.
Adam Goldberg. And there was me, and I was the comic relief. And so they were like, "Why didn't you pick any women's songs, man?" And I was like, fuck you. I don't,
You know what? Is the Steven Seagal Hollywood rumor true that he was Mike Ovitz's either bodyguard or personal trainer, and Mike Ovitz said, at the height of his power, he said, I can make this guy a movie star in a year.
I hope that's true.
Oh my God!
I think that's kind of how. That's what I heard.
Wow, that's a great story, even if it isn't true.
Let's just say it's true.
Let's just say it's true.
I wish. I think Mike Ovitz did that from like Michael Bay. Like he just looks around and finds people who are just out of their fucking minds and go, yeah, this guy, this woman, I'm gonna make her like homecoming queen, and or whatever. You know, it's like that kind of thing. That's crazy.
I actually did warm up for the list.
Oh, did you do
I was
warm
never
up
on the list, but I did warm up for a list for like 3 episodes.
And it's soul sucking, right?
Warm up is the worst gig a comedian can ever have, unless you're Jimmy Pardo.
Right, because he only does 7 minutes in front of Conan.
Right, and he doesn't. No,
and he does his act.
And he doesn't even say he calls himself opening for Conan. He doesn't even call himself warming up for Conan.
Right. So I don't know.
I'm going to fight with Pardo later on today at the festival.
Are you going to throw down? You're going to throw down with Pardo? Okay. So the other band that you gentlemen enjoy is these 4 guys from Liverpool, right? The Beatles.
Liverpool?
England? Oasis. Yay! I think it was the band before Wings, if I remember correctly, right?
I'm still enjoying the Oasis comment. Good one, sir.
Well done.
Well done, sir. There's a great video of Liam Gallagher. There's a great video of Liam Neeson called Taken 2. Of him. The great thing about Oasis was when they first started, they had to play a half hour at their gigs, and they only had 20 minutes worth of music, and so they would do whatever. If they were doing really shitty, they would rush through their set and only have like 14, and then have like 16 minutes to play, and then however much time they had left, they would just do an extended version of I Am the Walrus.
Yes, they would.
Just play I Am the Walrus for 14 minutes.
I remember when they were blowing up on MTV and they had to be subtitled. Because you can't understand what they're saying because they were so drunk, but also from Manchester.
And they also released an album of just the 2 brothers fighting in the studio. It's an album of them just yelling at each other.
The band Oasis.
Yes.
I'm unfamiliar with their work. I'm alone in this room, but I don't fucking know who they are.
They call themselves the new incarnation of the Beatles.
They weren't.
They were not even close.
They were not. And but they are from Manchester, and it was like that.
They are, and they're the biggest pompous ass. They suck. I saw them at Coachella.
I saw them too, and they suck.
They headlined at Coachella. Now, Coachella is an all...
What year? Like recently?
5 years ago.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
Now, the Coachella is in the desert. It's 110 degrees. It's 3 days long. They're going on Saturday night at 11. We've been sunburned for 12 hours. They go on, and the fucking lead singer just stands there like this. For 20 minutes. And me and half the crowd went, fuck you. And got up and left. Didn't even sit in for their show.
Wow. So what, so when did you guys get into the Beatles? What happened, was that in the 70s? No, what happened?
I grew up with it, but, because I had an older brother and sister who listened to it, but it wasn't really until I was in my, like, late teens, early 20s. I remember one of the first CDs. The very first CD I got was Please Please Me, and then the next CD I got was the White Album when they released that on CD, but then I had all the vinyl too, and then I just went.
Do you own every iteration
deep.
of?
I do, yes.
Okay, like so you have you got cassettes, and then you got.
I never really bought cassettes until I started coming to Los Angeles and didn't have any music with me, so I'd go to Counterpoint on Franklin and buy dollar cassettes of everything I could find and listen to
next to UCB.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Still a great record store.
Yeah. The guy owns it kind of jerk though. I used to live around the corner. So I know him.
Murray knows things.
You have to be a jerk if you run a record store.
I guess so. I don't know.
That and a bookstore. It's like if I go to this bookstore and they are not helpful. Sometimes they're just like, no, I don't want to talk about books. And I'm like, you run a bookstore. Why would you want to sit there and talk about what we all love to read? Right. No. First of all, they're bossy magoos about what they don't like to read. Like if you bring up an author and they're like, yeah, that guy's a hack. It's I went in and some guy was telling me that Heinlein was a hack. And I was like, Heinlein? Take it back. What's a Heinlein? Anyway, I mean, I get it. There's a lot of...
Who's Heinlein?
Robert Heinlein. He wrote Stranger in a Strange Land.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, so it's just... I've weeded off. Okay, so why don't you ask a question? Do your trivia thing that you're all excited
Beatles
about.
Trivia?
I am. Well,
this is terrifying.
Got some Beatles trivia.
My favorite thing Jackie ever said to me, by the way, Jackie Cation is my wife's favorite comedian. I like to point that out.
There you go. Yeah. Yes. And Murray does stand-up comedy.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm a comedian.
That's where it all falls apart briefly. it's my dead mother. Her favorite comic, Norm Macdonald, and I was
really?
like, "You realize I do stand-up comedy?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know, but he's great."
Not like Norm.
And then I killed her. No, I didn't.
There's a really good Norm Macdonald, well, self-plug, sorry here. There's a really good Norm Macdonald story on my latest episode. I do the Road Stories
right.
podcast.
Yeah, how about we plug some stuff? Hey, Road Stories podcast. Where Murray interviews different comics about road stuff and then anything that comes up, but a lot of road stuff.
Yes, and there's a great story about Norm Macdonald on the episode that'll be coming up tomorrow at roadstories.tv or MurrayVaLARiano.com. Beatles trivia. By the way, the only reason I said that is because I called Jackie today, and I was telling my wife what I was doing this morning, and I said, Jackie, if you don't mind, I was going to come up with a little Beatles trivia. We've never really done, I don't know if you've never really done that.
You haven't really done a lot of trivia stuff, but would you want to do a Beatles trivia? And I said, I love the fact that you're going to spend a couple hours coming up with Beatles trivia. That makes you a dork. Do it. Own it. Let's do this.
So I was excited. So as I ignored my
He could do Beatles trivia
son,
without having to spend a couple hours doing it. He could just ask Beatles trivia.
I was just writing
typed
it down.
it up. It's beautiful. It's
Thank you very
nice,
much.
nice
Now, I didn't really get a
formatting.
chance to order it from easy to hardest or anything like that, so I'll just randomly pick one. Well, I think I'll start off with an easy one.
Please do, because I might win then.
Okay, I think it's easy. I don't know. Well, all right, let's try this one. What was the first... Oh, this is actually kind of difficult because I didn't know this. What was the first Beatles single released in the U.S.?
Love Me Do.
Ooh, no.
Next. No, it wasn't?
It wasn't Love Me Do?
No,
hold your
but
hand?
you would think so. Yes.
Please
me.
me from the back. Well done,
Excellent.
sir. Well done.
1963. But I thought it was...
This could be a new game show. It's
Love
like
Me Do.
let's just do like a Doug Loves Movies, but whatever the dorkdom is, just start doing like Who Hungers for Games.
Yeah. We get Doug on here. It'd be Doug Loves Dorks. This is for the musician. Well, this is somewhat easy, I think.
The musician, the magazine?
The musician,
Oh,
Paul.
the actual musician.
Musician magazine.
What musical instrument did Paul McCartney make famous?
Ukulele.
Bass.
What? The bass.
The Hofner bass?
Yes, the Hofner bass. Good. Somebody else got that in there. Nailed it.
Why did he play a Hofner bass?
Oh,
Why? Ooh, right back.
No.
because they're the only ones who made left-handed?
It wasn't made left-handed, but it looked the same upside down because it was a violin
okay.
shape. So if you turned it upside down, it didn't look funny.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and he's left-handed?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, note to self. All right, he's obviously cursed. Okay.
Higher mortality rate, right?
Oh,
by
really?
Far, yeah, by far. Left.
There's a fun fact.
Especially if they become dentists.
Right. Then they're
Seattle.
suicidal and
In
lefty.
Seattle.
Yeah.
All right,
and if
then-
they're ex-military dentists that live in Seattle.
Dentists have the highest suicide rate.
Okay.
Seattle is very suicide.
Also sad.
Depressing.
And-
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. And they're
And they're
left-handed.
left-handed.
And they're left-handed, so, all
They
right.
keep just veering into the ocean. I don't know what that means.
All right. Okay, this is a fun one, and I think this gentleman might be able to help out. In April 4th, 1964, Billboard's Top 100, the Beatles occupied 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
64?
April 4th, 1964, all 5 slots were occupied by the Beatles. Songs. Name 3 of them.
Name 3 of them.
64. Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
You don't have them listed.
I don't have them listed.
Fantastic. It could be anything.
I do. I numbered it as a
Rhinestone
question.
Cowboy.
Rhinestone Cowboy, number 1.
Knock 3 times on the ceiling if... Okay.
You're dead.
Tony Orlando.
Dawn. Age of Aquarius.
This is a Beatles trivia. Let's take it seriously.
Elvis.
No.
She Loves You is 1. No, sir.
Yesterday?
Roll over, baby.
No.
Pre-yesterday, huh?
Pre-yesterday.
Free yesterday. 64.
Well, then so what was the first one?
She Loves
You. I want to hold your hand.
Wanna hold your hand.
Love Me Do.
No.
Love Me Do.
No. Gosh. You would
I'm just
think
going
Love
to
Me
keep
Do.
saying Love Me Do to everything
keep
because it's going to be
saying-
wrong.
The one was already mentioned.
Help.
Please me.
Please
please me.
That's 3.
That's 3. The other 2, Can't Buy Me Love, Twist and Shout,
Twist and Shout.
She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Please Me. Interesting note on that, 7 other songs occupied the 100 also that day.
From them?
They had 12 songs in the top 100.
Wow. Do you know the story? I think it must have been in 64, 65 about Bob Dylan he was in a limousine going to a concert in, I think, in Denver, somewhere in Colorado, and they played the top 10, and the first 5 were the Beatles, and he was so happy about it. He felt like it was such a revolution. He got out of the limousine and danced a jig.
Nice.
Because he loved the Beatles
And enraged,
so much?
enraged folkies who drove by.
Folkies everywhere.
What other fun facts do you guys know about the Beatles? Do you know any fun stories? Is there any good gossip about?
There's been a lot.
Has there been a lot of gossip?
Yeah.
Is there any good Ringo stories? Nobody ever talks about Ringo.
Who was the answer is Ringo. Ringo.
Who is the most talented Beatle ever?
Ringo, ironically, is the first Beatle after the Beatles broke up to have a #1 hit.
What was it?
I have a different answer to that.
It's true. You think it's Harrison?
I do. I thought it was Harrison.
No, it was It Ain't Easy.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, because I thought it was Harrison's My Sweet Lord. If I could get on the internet with a bogus password, we could find out. All right, we'll settle that out. We'll settle that after, mister.
Yeah, I'll put it in the notes. It'll all work out.
I'm going with Ringo. You know that Lennon quote about Ringo's drumming?
Yes, my favorite.
What's that?
He, by the way, is an underrated drummer.
I believe so also. I believe he gets
Ringo
shit
Starr
on.
is an amazing drummer, is what you're saying?
Amazing drummer, but he kind of got a hard time because he wasn't a flashy drummer.
Okay.
And Lennon was asked if he thought Ringo was an underappreciated drummer, and he said, "Is he the best drummer in pop music?" And Lennon said, "He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles." Because McCartney is a great drummer.
He actually, he played all the drums on his first solo album.
He played a lot of the drums on Abbey Road, supposedly, too.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Ringo's a little indisposed.
But I think Ringo is very underrated, and he really, if you were to put Keith Moon and the Beatles, it would never happen. It would not be the same band. So I think, especially his work on A Day in the Life.
Rolling Stones? Keith Moon?
Yes.
Rolling Stones? Okay.
The Who.
What? Oh, The Who. Yeah, whatever. Bunch of stoned hippies. No, I don't know. Okay, so he was in The Who. Keith Moon and died from some sort of overdose, right?
Yes.
Okay, in a pool? Was there a pool involved?
No, that was Brian Jones.
That was Brian Jones, all right.
Of the Rolling Stones.
From the Rolling Stones.
From the Rolling Stones, hence the conflation of my...
Keith Moon was trying to get sober, actually. He died technically, I think, of an overdose of the pill, those like sober pills or whatever they were called.
Oh, I love taking those.
Yeah.
Oh, sober pills. It sounds like the best idea ever.
Yeah, really. These are my
And
sober
Keith
pills.
Jones found him, who then replaced him in The Who, so...
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's always funny because Keith Moon is like they always put him up as the ultimate rock and roll indulgence and lifestyle, and then you talk to Pete Townsend, he's like, "No, that was my friend who died."
Yeah, right.
It just brings a whole reality to it.
What about Keith Richards?
Still alive.
Still alive. We'll never
still
die.
alive, but the thing is wasn't he like the epitome of people that party like crazy?
Except he lived.
Except for he lived. It's true.
And they just released a new album this week, and it's really good.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Although they always say that about Woody Allen movies and McCartney records. This one's seriously, this one's good.
Really? About McCartney records?
Seriously, this Woody Allen movie's good. You should go see it. Seriously, it's good.
Last McCartney good album, I think, is Flowers in the Dirt in '88. Although The Fireman was supposed to be really good. I didn't really listen to that, though.
I liked the one after Linda died that was all covers, Run Devil Run.
Oh, yeah, that is good. I like John Lennon's rock and roll covers. Rock and roll, the album Rock and Roll. You don't like that?
That's okay.
All right. I don't
What do you
have
guys
any
think of the
Wings
song
trivia.
Pipes of Peace? Anyone? I'll be over here.
Oh. There is an interesting documentary. I don't know. I'm not really into sports, but I know Paul is, and you might like this, about Shea Stadium that came out on HBO. I don't know if anybody saw
Baseball.
that recently. It's baseball.
Okay.
Well done, Jackie. Well
And
done.
they closed down Shea Stadium like 4 years ago, the original Shea Stadium, and they got Billy Joel to close the big concert. And not to do a spoiler alert, but he finagles McCartney to make a surprise to parents to come and play 2 songs. And the coolest part in this whole documentary is that, it's a whole thing. It's like, will Paul get there? Will Paul get there? That's how they keep you tinted. And sorry, I ruined it for you. Paul gets there.
Is there anything in that? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so Paul gets there, makes it to Shea Stadium, gets in the little golf cart, and the driver, who's 112, goes, "Hey, I drove you the first time you were here." I was like yelling. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" And my wife comes around. What happened? What happened? It was the first driver. It's a great documentary. You should check it out. Now that I run the ending for you.
It's that's fine. There was nothing in the vault for the. Can you ruin that thing about the Geraldo Rivera?
Oh, there was nothing there. I watched that live.
Yeah,
in the
I watched
kitchen.
that live too, didn't I? It was Al Capone's.
Al Capone's vaults.
As a group, Al Capone's vault. We're all of an age. It's beautiful. So what sports do you enjoy?
I enjoy the National Football League.
Oh, right. With the hitting.
With the hitting.
Okay.
And the concussions.
And the
I enjoy
concussions
I
and
enjoy the professional basketball, and I don't like amateur sports.
You don't enjoy college
No.
sports? Is that amateur?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't they get paid though on the sly?
I mean, they should, but
They
I just
should.
look at them and I think, okay, I just think, first of all, you guys should be at the library. Especially those 80,000 kids that are there all day. And
I like the
I'm
cut of your jib,
what?
sir. I
What
like
are you
that.
what are you doing? And then it's like watching an 8th grader play with kindergartners. There's always 2 or 3 guys on the field that are so far ahead of the pack.
Okay.
It just doesn't, it's not sporting to me.
Now, did you attend the university? Did you go to college?
Yeah, with a terrible, terrible sports program.
Oh, okay. Oh, which, no.
A Bowdoin College in Maine, which is Division III. Who did?
Your dad went to in the middle of Maine?
Not that much older than you, but I might have known him.
Because you were there for some time, were you?
I graduated in 91.
Okay. Did you so you grew up in Chicago, but you went to college in Maine?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I don't know.
That's so weird. Do you like lobster? What?
I do. And a little piece of personal trivia. I was conceived in Maine. So maybe I was returning to my
Like spawning. Yeah. Nice work. Were your parents from Maine? Was there
No,
someone?
my mother was from the East Coast, and she went to a summer camp in Maine that we then kind of spent some time at in the summers.
Okay.
When I was a zygote.
Right. And when
Yeah.
just a twinkle. It's
Yes.
Where
did you go to
That was the name
college?
of the college sporting team, wasn't it? The Zygotes?
The Zygotes.
Yeah.
Was that the name of the team? I went to Madison, Wisconsin. So the University of Wisconsin.
The only Big Ten football game I ever went to was a Madison-Ohio State game in 1986.
I only sold T-shirts in '86.
Yeah?
I was selling seconds and irregulars outside of that game.
I was drinking Old Style and peach schnapps.
Starting at like 9 a.m., I bet.
Yeah.
Peach schnapps.
Disgusting.
Good choice.
Terrible.
Good choice.
Terrible.
I used to do shots of amaretto. We're a desperate people. It's a desperate
First time
lot.
I got drunk was out of my friend Doug Depew's dad's liquor cabinet. It was amaretto.
It's almond liqueur, is that
It's-
right?
It's I believe a nut flavored liqueur. It is a
The only thing I can tell
negative
you
experience.
is how it tastes coming up, because that was the last time I drank it.
Yeah, right.
It was I wanted to be in the marching band. That's why I went to the University of Wisconsin.
What did you play?
Trumpet, and then my brother got me a job selling T-shirts outside the games. He's like, "You want to make money? You want to lose money?" And I was like, "How am I losing money? How am I losing?" He's like, "By not having this job selling T-shirts. That's how you're losing money. So what you're going to do is," I was like, "Oh, fine." And so for 5 years, because that's how long I went to college, I sold T-shirts and hooded sweatshirts and hats outside of the football games. So in '86, at Camp Randall. Did you see who did they play? Any idea?
Ohio State.
Ohio State, red on red. The
Yeah,
Buckeyes.
a lot of red on red.
Yeah, that's nice. Those were good games. I used to make about $300 in cash.
Really?
Worked for a guy named Sid and Sophie Sweet.
And did you get to keep that money?
Well, so what you do is you sell $3,000 worth of stuff, and you get to keep 10%.
This is so much like Goodfellas right now.
Oh, it's my life is like Goodfellas.
Yeah, yeah.
Who doesn't want to show up someplace and go through the kitchen? Who doesn't want to? I like to see where the door's at all times.
With a bag
just
of
in case.
sweatshirts.
That's it, bag of sweatshirts, and you fold them up nice because Sid and his son Mark would print them in the night, and they'd get. And Sid was like born 70 years old, and so he would work like 14, 16-hour days, just like silk screening these shirts, and occasionally they'd be a little smudged. He's like, fold them quick, just fold them quick. Everyone's hammered. Don't worry about it. And these hooded sweatshirts were like $11. So you were essentially you were cold because it was 12 degrees below zero.
Right.
And we were just completely selling. And you get people who are like, why are the tags cut on the shirts? And you're like, and what that means is that they're seconds or irregulars and that they're not, that there's something fucked up about them. But, I would, you just go, oh, I don't know why. That one must have ripped. And if you're ever buying T-shirts and you're like, I don't know if this is going to fit me, and if you're too big for it, they'll say, "Oh, it'll stretch. Just don't dry it." And then if it's too big, you're like, oh, fry it in the dryer. That'll just shrink right down. That'll shrink right down. So essentially, there was a lot of sales in my life. And
you have a sales background, you'd say?
Oh, yeah. I have a... Yeah. My father the other day, I told him that I had to turn a gig down, and he was like, what was the first thing I taught you? Because my father sells aluminum siding, and I was like, what was the first thing I taught you? And I said, pick up other people's change. And he said, after that. He did not say after that. I was not raised by Lex Luthor. But the thing is he said, no, the first thing I taught you was never say no without a number. Never say no without a number. And I was like, oh, I vaguely remember you saying that hundreds of times. It means when you have to turn something down, don't say, no, I can't do it. Say, well, I could do it if you, I don't know, give me a certified check for $12,000. I could do it. And then they turn you down. And then,
or they call your bluff.
And then you get
$12,000.
A giant bag of money. Right. Yeah. So, I actually, 2 days after that, this guy said, I had to turn down a weird gig here in Los Angeles, and I said, hey, I picked up a money gig that night, so unless you want to pay me $200, I'm going to go do the money gig. And the guy said, I can give you $100, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. And so because what happened was I had messed up the day, so I ended up making $100 both nights.
And your father must have been proud on that one.
My father is very proud. And I die a little bit, because every time I make that compromise, I think, what the fuck?
So you never made it to the marching band?
No, I never. No, I auditioned all week long, and then my brother said I can get you this job, and so I didn't go to the last 2 days. And so me and Mike LaCrone never really. I got to interview him once. It was a set. I know. I'm still mad about it. We still talk
hazing
about it.
Is supposedly brutal, right?
Right. I had a friend of mine, Mike Harriman, who Harriman. That's his last name, Harryman. Michael Harriman went to bless you. He ended up being in the marching band and got kicked out of college because he partied too much. Because what happens is you end up, the marching band just ends up being your life, man.
Yeah. Those bandies can partay.
And what's the arc of the
covenant?
You graduate it. What's the Ark of the Covenant do during marching band? If they just brought that into the middle of the field and opened it up.
That's it. They're just like the melting of faces.
Melts everybody's face.
Once you're out of college and you've been you've all that time in a marching band, there's not really like professional ranks.
Well, there's when I was out of college, my marching band in high school was such a big deal that they had an alumni marching band that would march in South Milwaukee days every year. And so one year I was home and my buddy Paul Burridge, who was in drum corps, he was like, "Hey, I'm going to marching band practice. Do you want to go? And we're just going to play the same 9 songs we played in high school, and you just want to go?" And I just went to the rehearsal, and they said, if you show up to 3 rehearsals, you can march in the 4th of July parade for the alumni band. And so we all go. And so we're all like 30 years old at this point. And as soon as the snare drum started playing the cadence, I burst into tears. I was laughing so hard. Because you know how like you hear something from childhood and you can either just get this welling up of emotion, and in my case I was like, oh my god, we were so fucking stupid. And because it was drum, drum, and then we played like dun dun, whatever. But I still enjoy a parade. I still enjoy a parade a great deal. That's what's left over from marching band.
I joined the marching band in high school, but I didn't join until senior year.
Oh, okay.
And I was in the drum section.
Okay.
Dummers. I was in the drum section in 8th grade.
Oh, really? But what they don't tell you is when you join is,
you played the bass?
I played the bass drum because I wasn't good enough on the snare.
Oh, okay.
Well, they won't let you start on snare or tryo. So I had a senior year. By the time, when you joined freshman year, you've moved up to snare drum. But then me being a senior joining the first time, I got stuck on bass drum with 3 other freshmen.
Yeah.
I've been 6 feet tall since 9th grade. So I was just like this towering dun 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 dun, walking out with like these 3 prepubescent kids behind me. Dun dun dun.
When I started playing drums in 7th grade, I was playing trombone, which is awful because the first day I had the trombone, I dropped it.
Ooh.
And so it was bent.
Right. Did you break the bell?
So no, it just went every time you slid it. I couldn't get a new one. So anyway, I started playing drums, and they put me in not marching band, but in band.
Right. Concert band.
Concert band.
Stage band.
And we would march. But I was also a piano player. I started playing piano very young, and they knew that. So we played the theme from Chariots of Fire,
Sure you did.
Evangelist,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
it is. And there's that thing,
Yeah.
right? And they got like a 400-pound synthesizer in there. And then, and when we did the concert for the parents too in the auditorium, I had to just go.
Oh, because
for
you
like
play piano.
7 minutes. Yeah, and they had to make me follow along the music, which is just the same note
Right, right.
for 7 pages.
Right. Do you know I played bass clarinet in concert band, and bass clarinet is essentially 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 bottom, and then 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 16 2 3 4 18 2 3 4 and then it's just all it is counting. Right. All you're doing is counting
Yeah.
measures.
You could have joined Big Black. You could have been in like a math rock band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I had to play the triangle in stage band. I'm not making that up. Me and Ed Grimley. Because it was all kettle drums and all those other, and like a full
love kettle
set.
drums.
And so the guys who'd been there, and I literally had one song, and I sat there the whole time till the end of the song, and it was like, ding. It was so humiliating.
High school is so inclusive.
Yes.
It just feels good, doesn't it, to think back and think about how ridiculous it was. Okay, so what you guys? What else do you want to? Neil, are you raising your hand? No. Oh, I thought
Do you have any more Beatles trivia? Is that bad to go back
what
to?
else you got? You
Oh,
got
yeah,
yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
We weed it off, but as per usual.
Let's go for a hard one.
Okay.
I think. The Beatles started their label, Apple Corps. Mm-hmm. Apple Corps. We're getting a text.
We're getting at something.
We're getting an emergency
shit.
text. What? Were you
George
on?
Harrison becomes first Beatle to have a solo #1 hit when My Sweet Lord
George
is
Harrison.
#1.
There it is.
Yes.
Somebody in the audience
Thank you
brought
very
it.
much.
Well done, sir.
My
Well
story's
done.
better.
What?
Your story is better.
But I'm right.
That Ringo was the one.
All right, this is a difficult one.
Okay.
They started Apple Records.
Yes.
Recordings, which, by the way, they sued Apple a few years ago and lost.
Yes.
Yes, and lost. But who was the first non-British artist to sign to Apple Records?
James Taylor.
Oh, damn it. Good one. Bing,
Good-
bing,
oh,
bing.
really?
Yep.
Really? All
I
right.
believe he was the first person signed to Apple.
I thought he
after
was the
Beatles.
first one signed, but when I did some research today, I could only find first non-British.
Non-British, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How about
right.
another one?
James
Get
Taylor.
another
All
one?
right, another one.
Smart boys.
I like James Taylor. Yeah.
How about? Okay, this is a difficult one. Which Beatles album contains only material written by John and Paul? It is also the first album to feature only Beatles music.
Rubber Soul.
And the clock is started.
No, not Rubber Soul. No, not Rubber Soul.
Rubber Soul is not right. It's not
No.
Sgt. Pepper. It is not Revolver. We only got 4 more.
Is it a Beatles for Sale?
No, it was also the title of a movie. Hard Day's Night.
The sixth.
kinda not
the
fair.
sixth
It's a
out of
soundtrack.
7.
What?
It's a soundtrack.
Oh, I don't know about that. I guess you could call it that. Oh, and another kind of sub question to that is hold on, I wrote this out very cleverly. Hold on. All right, it's actually not that clever. What future prog rock drummer / singer appeared as an extra in A Hard Day's Night?
Oh, everybody knows.
Wow,
Collins.
nice.
Andy Wood knew that also.
All right, well done. Did you know? Phil Collins. He's the drummer for Genesis.
Correct.
All right.
There you go.
It's a fun game. It's a drinking game for those of you Rangers of the Dork Forest at home.
What musician, what very famous fronting bass-playing musician appeared in the movie Quadrophenia?
Front.
Sting.
Sting.
Oh, really?
Somebody knew that.
In that weird Sting sweater.
Also in
There was a weird...
Gordon Sumner.
Gordon Sumner. Ooh, I like 10 Sumner Tales. I hate Sting. I think we all do.
Oh, no, I don't mind. I like the Police.
Thank you
Oh, is he a
very much.
jackass?
He's a dick.
Okay, but, you know.
Well, hold on. We like
John
Sting.
Lennon's a
We
dick.
like Sting and the Police.
Okay.
Yes.
We hate Sting after his 3rd solo album.
Third
Yes.
solo album. That's some
That's
deep
a lot
Sting
of Sting,
knowledge.
though. We'll take a lot of Sting.
A lot of Sting
I went
knowledge.
to see the Police on the reunion tour, and I paid a lot of money because I never got to see the Police. And I told my wife, I don't care how much money I paid for these tickets. If he busts out a lute, I'm getting the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
that's right.
Did it happen?
No, thank God.
All right. Did he move to Portland and turn it into a bicycle? That is actually a Maria Bamford joke. Sorry about that. It's a mandolin, Portland, bicycle, MariaBamford.com. Go for it. Okay, so, what else? You got another one? Or is that it?
No,
is that
I got
you got
four more, I think. I only got 12, and I think we got 4 more. Did that one. Okay, this is I think a semi-easy one. Paul claims that he dreamt the rhythm and melody for Yesterday. So before he wrote the lyrics and came up with the title, he referred to this song as what?
Scrambled eggs.
Okay, good. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, my baby, how I love your legs.
Yes. And I don't know if anybody watches Fallon, but he had McCartney on, and they
did scrambled eggs.
Scrambled eggs. Fallon, really fucking
Amazing
doing
with the
good
music
stuff,
stuff.
man. Yeah, he's
Amazing.
really doing good stuff now. Here's a difficult one.
Wait, who did he do doing the Growing Pains theme? Was that what it just was? Did you send that to me?
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, it was incredible.
What was
That
it?
a great story.
Jimmy
I'll
Fallon
think of it
sang the Growing Pains thing?
as somebody. I got to figure it out.
Anyone? No?
No?
Okay.
No, I'll go get it.
Yes, Jimmy Fallon character? Oh, is that the one who did it?
That he did?
What was it? I'll figure
Okay.
it out. I'll figure it out.
I got you.
right.
I know what you're saying.
Do you guys remember the words to the Quincy theme song?
There were words to the Quincy theme song?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted there to be. Quincy is a doctor. No, he's not a doctor. Just something like that. Just
On a boat examining that woman's thigh inappropriately. That woman that's
Jack
too young for him.
and,
Klugman.
in a beautiful station wagon it was. That'd be called a crossover now. That's how beautiful a station wagon it was.
I remember getting... Oh, I have one more.
Oh, yeah?
All right. According to this question, it's in 19,565. It was a typo. So I'm assuming...
Wow, 1965.
I'm assuming it's 1965 at this point. Rubber Soul featured the Beatles' first song with a sitar. Name that song.
Norwegian Wood.
Damn it.
Nice one. Nice one.
Holy
no,
shit.
This is
Originally entitled
Oh, Christ.
Uh-oh. Follow up.
Knowing She Would.
Oh, really? You know what you would?
But
All right.
was
I gotta
too
stump you on
considered
one.
too risque.
Knowing she would. Mm-hmm. All right.
All right, I gotta
Not a
stump-
dick
It's a
joke.
sexual reference.
Oh, is it? Okay. You know, I didn't get the other night? Pink taco.
I just got that.
I
just got that.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. There's no reason to not fucking get that. It's horrifying. And I did a show at a place
Are you
called
talking
Pink
about the
Taco.
Pink-
Yeah, and that was the guy I made pay me $100. I was like, I will do your show, but I would like $100 to go to some creep factory on Sunset called Pink Taco.
All right, I want to stump Paul with one.
All right.
I just want to stump Paul with one, so I'm going to...
Paul's weeded off into texting. So
I'm looking for the Fallon thing, which actually was him singing the Silver Spoons theme as somebody, though, and it's not coming
who
out.
wanted to live in that house? Oh, yeah, we all wanted to live in that house.
I always loved that Justin Bateman... No, not Jason Bateman's character burned down his treehouse to collect the insurance money.
In Arrested
funny.
Development?
No, in
Oh, and...
in Silver Spoons.
In Hancock.
Silver Spoons. He was around for a while.
It's, you know, all of pop culture is a fucking popcorn ball in my head. That's what it is. It's where's that podcast? Popcorn ball. And
This is that podcast.
it's okay. So it has been an hour, gentlemen.
Okay.
Wow.
I know it. It goes by pretty quick, and so let's. Everyone should watch Private Practice. Everyone should. Yay, Private Practice. Paul Adelstein. Yay, Adelstein. I did it, Adelstein. I know it.
Stein.
Stein or Stein?
Stein.
Is it Stein? Mm-hmm. I
She
went
has a
Stein.
track record of not getting
It's
last
okay.
names right.
I know.
Valeriano.
Very good.
2.
12 years in the making.
All right, 12 years. And you can call me Jackie Cashian. You can ethnic up my name because people fuck it up all the time. And
It's Kardashian, right?
it's Kardashian. Those guys, man, they're helping Armenians everywhere. They're a walking advertisement for birth control. Anyway, I can't watch. Can't do it. I hope it all works out for them, of course. I hope they buy land. I believe they did already. What Doris
Doris Music, we're going to be playing in Las Vegas on November 9th and then hopefully in Los Angeles in December sometime.
Okay, so everybody should go see the band. Now, Murray.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your websites and your things to plug? Besides Road Stories, the great podcast.
The great podcast, Road Stories. You can go there at roadstories.tv or at murrayvaleriano.com. Check that out. And also, I don't know when this is going. I'll be at the Irvine Improv this weekend. I don't know if this is going up.
Not a chance.
All right. Then the Chicago Improv the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Nice. I'll be there, so Chicagoites, come on out. And,
I'm all over Reno. I'm doing Reno. I'm
Catch
doing Portland.
or Harris?
Catch.
Oh.
It's we. And then I'll be on Road Stories to talk about it.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and sign you up for that following week. I literally I dissed, like this girl kept calling out at the Catch in Reno during my set and I had to shut her down, and her boyfriend was, like a fucking Ed Hardy buff dude and was like giving me the eye, and I'm like, hey buddy, I'm just kidding. And I go to kind of give him the old slap. He grabbed my hand and pulled me off stage. Security came the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
So enjoy Catch a Rising Star in Reno.
Yeah. Do you ever have that when you play live music?
Yeah.
You ever get hecklers?
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you get?
You suck, you get. If you're opening for somebody big, they do not want to see you.
Wow, they don't want to see you work through your career?
No, they don't want anything. They don't want anything to do with you.
Wow.
Which is great when you're playing a really quiet one. It's really, really good.
when your music is all Vienna.
Right.
It's all Vienna and you're just like, I could hear everybody with their ice.
Heckle.
I would like to dedicate this one to my mother. She was a great woman.
You suck! Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
That is brutal. Yes. Brutal, my friends. It's what I should announce is that Dork Forest is going to move to the All Things Comedy network with Al Madrigal and Bill Burr.
Oh, great.
And it'll be on SoundCloud. So I don't know if the app's going to work anymore, but we'll make sure everything works and everything is good. And thank you so much for supporting the Dork Forest, and feel free to review it and hang out, and thanks for coming to LA Podcast Festival.
Thanks a lot for having us, too.
And if you didn't get a patch, you can get a patch.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat, my hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?